Ever wonder how some situations can completely trigger you? What is amygdala hijack? Stay tuned to find out. My name is Tiffany Toombs. I'm a high-performance mindset coach that has worked with thousands of people all across the world to help them master their mind, leave behind amygdala hijack and mental blocks so they can step into the best version of themselves. Now, amygdala hijack can completely destroy your day or your momentum. In this video, I'm going to share with you what the amygdala is. Then I'm going to share with you what amygdala hijack is and when it happens. And finally, I'm going to share with you some tools to overcome amygdala hijack for good. So the amygdala is an almond-shaped gland towards the back of our head, near our brainstem. It is a very primal part of our brain, and it's actually the fear center of our brain. Now, the interesting thing about the amygdala is that it doesn't differentiate between real and perceived threats. It responds to both situations. So whether there is an actual bear running at us, or maybe we walk into a brand new coffee shop and two people in the corner are whispering about us, it will activate the same fear, fight or flight survival response in our body in both situations. So before I share with you what amygdala hijack is and how you can overcome it, I want to remind you to subscribe to my channel. I am putting out brand new videos every single week to help you conquer fear for good so that you can have more success, more fulfillment, and more happiness. So go ahead and click that subscribe button and click the like button for this video while you're there. So our amygdala is supposed to have connections to the logical and reason side of our brain called the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex sits just behind our forehead. So there should be two-way communication between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. Now, unfortunately, when we are severely stressed, which most of us in this world are, because we live in a society that talks about hustle and grind and that awards people for being busier and more stressed out, these connections start to break down. Now, when these connections start to break down, it means that the fear programming, the fear stories that we have takes over without any checks and balances from our logic and reason. And this is where amygdala hijack happens. We're going about our day and something happens, a real or a perceived threat, and it throws us into a spiral of fear programming, feeling like we're under attack, feeling like we might not survive or that there's a scarcity of time, money, or other resources, and all of a sudden we are in fight or flight mode. The more stressed out we are, the more likely that amygdala hijack is going to happen and push us down into our primal behaviors. So what are our primal behaviors? When we're in amygdala hijack, it pushes us into what we call the lower mind. Now, in the lower mind, we become very reactive to our environment. Somebody cuts us off in traffic and now we're pissed off and our entire day is ruined. We walk into a store and people are whispering and we automatically assume it's about us. What this does is it means our day, how we're feeling in our day, is only as good as the things happening in our environment. So instead of being in our power, we actually give our power to everybody outside of us. When we're in this lower mind in amygdala hijack, we also seek out instant gratification. So we're seeking pleasure to avoid pain in the now, which means we're not thinking about tomorrow. In this lower mind, we're more likely to engage in disempowering and addictive behaviors to get that instant hit of gratitude. This is where we see people comfort eating or drinking a bottle of red wine or smoking or doing drugs, seeking out sexual partners on social media or dating apps, gaming, social media, binge watching Netflix, all these addictive behaviors to get us that instant high. Now, because we're not thinking about the future, we don't think about how spending that money or how being promiscuous or the hangover that's going to come tomorrow if we follow through and drink that red wine. Because in that moment, these people are just thinking about finding pleasure and taking away their pain in the moment. Now, when we're in our lower mind, we're also easier to control and manipulate because all somebody has to do is play to our fear programming in order to gain compliance from us. So as you can see, we don't really want to stay in this low mind, and we want to be able to overcome amygdala hijack so that we have more control in our life. Before I share with you how you can overcome this, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced amygdala hijack, where you're going about your life and everything's good, and then all of a sudden you're in this spiral of negativity or fear or fight or flight mode? Go to the comments below and let me know. So we know that amygdala hijack happens when we're highly stressed out. So if we truly want to overcome amygdala hijack for the long term, we need to make sure that we are actively working to reduce our stress levels, which means that we need to practice self-care. Now, self-care is more than just red wines and bubble baths. That's the definition of self-care when you're in the lower mind, but that's not where we want to stay. So true self-care is things like getting enough sleep. Ideally, we need 8 hours of sleep to be able to function at our best. Regular self-care also means looking after your body through eating healthy foods and regular exercise. It's about meditation and daily reflection. It's about getting enough water and making sure that you're healing those emotional wounds and emotional baggage that you've been carrying around. All of these things add to the stress levels that our body experiences, and when you add up the sum of all those minute stresses, we become overly stressed and more prone to emotional hijack. Now, in the moment when you find yourself being emotionally hijacked, how do we pull ourselves out of it? Coming back to our breath is one of the fastest ways to reset our stress levels and pull ourselves out of amygdala hijack. My personal favorite breathing technique is called box breathing. Breathing in for 4 counts, holding for 4 counts, breathing out for 4 counts, and holding for 4 counts. When you repeat this 4 times, it resets your stress levels to a baseline level so that you are better able to access that logic and reason of your prefrontal cortex. Being present enough in the moment to recognize that you are going into a spiral, or maybe that you're mid-spiral, and taking a moment or two to pull yourself out of it will benefit you in the long term. Now, if you're ready to start letting go of these extra emotional and mental stresses so that you can really stop amygdala hijack from happening, I would love to invite you to check out my brand new Mind Mastery Challenge. This free 6-day challenge is going to share with you powerful exercises that I use with all of my clients and with myself to move through fear, imposter syndrome, emotional baggage, and so much more. All you have to do to get free instant access to join me in the challenge at any time is go to nlpworksheet.com or click on the link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching.